The pain hasn't gone away. It hurts just as much as it did when Ismail Yozgat watched his son Halit bleed to death in his arms. That was 7 years ago. To mark the anniversary, Aisha and Ismail Yozgat invited residents of Kassel to a memorial service for their son.
The 6th of April is the day my son died a martyr. Thank you very much for not leaving us alone today.
A few hundred people came to remember the 7th anniversary of Halit Yozgat's death. The mayor was also on hand to pay his respects to the 9th victim of the neo-Nazi cell. Since the end of 2012, this small square bears Halit Yozgat's name. It's just a few hundred meters from where he was shot. A store for household goods now occupies the spot where Halit Yozgat once ran a small internet cafe. On the afternoon of April 6th, the 21-year-old was shot in the head twice from behind, likely by the NSU's leaders Uwe Bönhardt and Uwe Mundlos.
At 5 minutes after 5, I came to the cafe. Halit wasn't there. There were 3 red drops on the table. I called, "Halit, where are you?" Then I saw him lying back here under the table. I pulled him up and saw he had a blood stain here, and another on the other side, too. And his eyes had turned blue.
The suspicions that followed were almost as hard to bear, as the police believed they were dealing with immigrant gang wars.
We're not that kind of family. I've worked for 39 years in Germany. I didn't even know where the police headquarters were. I'd never had anything to do with the cops.
The investigators asked me, "Do you have any enemies? Did your son have problems? Did he have any bad habits?"
Only in February 2012, at a memorial service for all the NSU's victims, did the Yozgats and other relatives receive an apology. Chancellor Angela Merkel expressed shame for the botched investigations.
This led them to focus their search on the mafia, the drug scene, or even the families of the victims. A few relatives were wrongly under suspicion for years. That is especially disturbing, and for that, we ask your forgiveness. Dafür bitte ich Sie Verzeihung.
When it was Ismail Yozgat's turn to speak, many were surprised. Instead of admonishing the prosecutor's failures, he expressed just one wish.
We've been offered money, and I'd like to thank you for that, but we won't accept it. What we need is emotional support.
Germany's President Joachim Gauck wants to lend his support, too. The Yozgats attended a reception he held for the victims' relatives a few weeks ago. Those here want the people of Germany to realize what terrible crimes were committed in their midst. That's why Ismail Yozgat keeps telling his sad story time and again.
I had just one son, and he was murdered in Kassel.
He wants to make sure people will never forget this, so he hopes the street which runs by the crime scene will soon be named after Halit. For Ismail Yozgat, the renaming of this small square and the stone inscribed with the names of all 10 of the terror cell's victims is just the beginning. Keeping the memory of his son alive has become Ismail Yozgat's life's work. This great commitment is his way of making the pain bearable.
Holländische Straße in Kassel should be renamed Halit Street. We demand that from the German government, because they promised to do everything for us.
Ismail Yozgat also has high expectations of the upcoming NSU murder trial. He's not so preoccupied with what kinds of sentences the 5 defendants receive. To him, it's more important that light is shed on how the terror cell operated and who helped them.
I have the fullest confidence in the German justice system and in German judges. They will reach a just verdict. But the culprits were certainly part of a much larger network with many masterminds. I want them to reveal how things could have gotten this far.
Why did his only son have to die? And who's really responsible? Ismail Yozgat wants to finally receive answers to these questions. Without them, the Yozgat family will never find peace of mind.